as someone who's starting and trying to commit a certain amount of time to this, like a couple hours per week, I think that there's a lot of lessons that I'm learning, and I just want to share those lessons. So if anyone else wants to get into this, or if you're like intimidated by it, you can see that there are paths that you can take to learn how to fly FPV drones, and that you don't have to be like super skilled right out the gate. But as I've just continued to try and fly for at least an hour a week, I have gotten considerably better, but still not good. So this was my second week of flying. This was actually the first time I had flown outside. So inside was the first week. This is the second time I've flown, and I decided to go to a park that was next to our house. And I was like, maybe open space will be better and less chance of breaking things inside my house, because it is a little drone, but even throwing this thing around in your house can cause a little bit of damage. So until I got some control of it, I wanted to take it outside. So first thing I can show you guys is that the batteries are actually charged. My charger came in. So you can see the batteries are at 4.2 volts, which is good. So I go straight up in the air. And so, yeah, remember, this is the best of clip. So this is not the first clip that I had from this week. This was after, I think this is the very last battery that I had actually, which is maybe something interesting to track for my sessions. But this was me doing what I called there and back. So me and Steven had talked about like I should be challenging myself to do some type of maneuver in the air. And I came up with just being able to go to one point and come back from that point. And so I called it a there and back, not too impressive with the naming. But I was actually, this was like the most control of the drone that I felt that I had in the second week. And the next thing that I want to point out is just see how much higher off the ground I am compared to being in my house. I mean, that's a full-size picnic table. It's pretty small there on the ground. This is a telephone pole, so I don't know how high those are, but like 30, 40 feet in the air probably here. It's just a lot easier to fly up here because you have time to catch yourself. Like, as you can see when I'm taking off here, I like bobble it a little bit and I'm able to catch myself and level out the horizon and get back up in the air. So this is being able to go out to this picnic table. I know that I was trying to land here, but even my landing 6 weeks in is pretty poor. So I was just like, all right, let me just stay up in the air, go from one picnic table, kind of turn around very sloppily, and then get to the second picnic table and just go back and forth a couple of times. I was kind of working on my turning, but I don't think I was like consciously thinking about what I was doing too much here. It was just like, oh, I'm actually flying this thing, and I'm being able to keep it in the air, which this is the longest time that I was in the air as well. And I probably could have been in the air a little bit longer, but as soon as I saw this person, I was just like, I really don't want to hit a stranger with my drone. So I just kind of dive bombed it in the ground. But yeah, that was the best of my second week of flying. It's very high up in the air. It's very sloppy turning, but it was a huge step in the right direction for my confidence and for, actual flying in the real world, knowing that at least my understanding of how the controls for flying an FPV drone work that I learned from a simulator are translating to the real world. So I'm not like getting confused on how to throttle up or how to turn or any of that kind of stuff. It's just not smooth because I don't have the practice. So yeah, I dump it in the grass, I disarm it, which that was something that, again, from all the research that I had done, I knew that the highest risk of breaking this drone, which these propellers are pretty gnarly as I'm looking at this and about to say this, but the highest risk of breaking the drone is landing it in tall grass and then having that motor get caught on a piece of grass. So I was actually pretty diligent about when I'm crashing, I just need to disarm it, making sure that there's no current getting put to those motors at all. So you can see, like, even before it's fully crashed, I disarmed it and made it land. So I think that's part of the reason that I've been able to not burn out motors quite yet. I've heard a couple of people who have gotten these drones and like within the week they've burned out motors. They could be flying way harder than I am. They're probably people who have more experience and they're just reviewing this drone. But just putting that out there, if you're learning to fly, it's usually a good idea to just disarm as soon as possible.